right now, let's get into one of the main things I've been wanting to discuss this week. Yermin Mercedes versus Tony La Russa and the unwritten rules. Now, I'm going to start off by saying I have a lot to say about this, and I am really, really, really pissed about what happened. Now, let me explain why. Like, 15-4, you're up by that much. Twins have to bring in a position player. He serves up one of the craziest eephus pitches I've ever seen. You know, one of the things that no one's talking about, he hit an eephus pitch to dead center. Like, forget the fact that it was a 3-0 count. Forget the fact that they were up by so many runs. That was pretty impressive. I don't care who it was. But yet somehow you have the Twins announcer complaining, oh, you can't do that. We're down by so much. Why do you have to swing at that? And then what's worse is you have Tony La Russa going down and crying foul and saying, oh, no. He made a big mistake. We're going to have to discipline him accordingly. First of all, that's not a mistake. He sees a meatball that's headed his way that he likes. You let him hit it out of there. I don't care what the score is. Now, the real issue I have, however, wasn't even that. Like, you're going to have people who are old school who feel like hitting a 3-0 pitch for a home run is wrong. Okay, fine. Fair enough. I get it. Here's my problem. He didn't just go complain about the old school unwritten rules. He threw his guy under the bus. I'm sorry. That is not okay. The day afterwards, Danny Duffy's the Twins pitcher. He throws behind him at his back. And I think the worst part is Tony La Russa basically poured gasoline into the fire and said, oh, I'm okay with the Twins pitcher doing that. He needs to learn his lesson. Just shut up at this point, okay? Just stop. Like, this is your own player on your team. He's leading the league in batting average, and you've been without Eloy Jimenez, and he's been a pretty big reason as to why you have the best record in the American League. Like, what's wrong? Like, what's the problem here? Why are you going on a player just for breaking some old unwritten rules? And then, of course, you had Lance Lynn and many of his teammates sticking up for him. Lance Lynn said it best. He said that a lot of these unwritten rules are kind of slowly going down as the game's going on, yet Tony La Russa has the audacity to say, oh, there's a reason I have a manager's desk and he has a locker room. I can't stand it. Like, Tony La Russa is the reason why people think baseball is a dying game. It's stuff like that where seeing, like, unwritten rules is just like old school traditionalism. I can't stand it. One of the good things about other sports is traditions are changing and other people are allowing it. It's just flowing naturally. Whereas for some reason with baseball, if there's any little bit of change or any little thing that's going to make people's egos upset, then, you know, oh, we got to stop this. I can't take this anymore. I'm sure you guys probably, I want to hear you guys sound off on this too.
Well, what I'll say is I think it's more of a Tony La Russa issue than it is sort of unwritten rules. I mean, because there are some unwritten rules that are, you know, absolutely necessary. Like, if you're going to hit someone, don't hit him in the head. You know, that's kind of a given, you know. But, I mean, let me throw this your way. You know, let's look at Joe Girardi, for example. You know, he's sort of more of an old guard type guy too. You know, obviously less so than La Russa, but definitely more an old school manager. I think one of the reasons he was, you know, not hired immediately after he left the Yankees was that people were worried that he wasn't going to be able to connect with the younger generation, which he's had zero issue with in Philadelphia. So, you know, but what was the guy's name? Gene Segura. He made a handful of errors in that series and he threw the glove, which you're not allowed to do, and Girardi blew up on him. But then when he was questioned on it in the media, he was like, nope, we're handling this internally, which is what you want to do. You know why? There's no need to fan the flames, you know? And look, say what you will, unwritten rules, you shouldn't hit a 3-0 eephus pitch to dead center, moonshot, whatever. You know, it's impressive that he did it. Do you have any idea how much force you have to generate in order to do something like that? The exit velocity must have been like 60 miles an hour. It's because of how slow it was. Like, but, you know, you don't throw your own guys under the bus. Like, one of the reasons why every Mets fan in the world loves Terry Collins is because of how he went to bat for Noah Syndergaard after he threw behind Chase Utley after Utley had taken out Tejada. You know, he got in that guy's face. You sit there, you watch that clip, he endears himself to you because of how willing he is to go to bat for his players. La Russa, who arguably shouldn't even be the manager right now, given everything else that's going on off the field, you know, he's ostracizing himself even more so than he already has with his off-the-field antics. You know, so And you look at what happened with the Cleveland Cavaliers. You know, they really got rid of the coach because of how poorly he was connecting with the guys. You ostracize yourself. Yes, Tom.
I know you guys will love that reference.
You got to give us a shot.
Your ass is in the jackpot, pal.
Exactly.
So,
that was a classic.
Classic.
Speaking of rants, did you guys see Sabathia's reaction? I know you guys aren't the biggest fans of CC, but like, say what you want him. Yeah, exactly. He was 100% correct in his assessment of the incident. Like, now, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to completely repeat all of the vocabulary he used. If you want to go watch that, it's a little spicy. Just don't show it around kids. That's my one warning. But he's absolutely right. Like, if you're going to be a manager of a team, don't go throwing your guys under the bus. There's a right way and wrong way to handle incidents that you find are wrong. And calling them out to the media is not the correct way to handle it. And let me just say another thing, too. This also is not the first time that Tony La Russa has had a problem with a Mercedes.
There you go. There you go. But that's exactly it, though. That, you know, I don't think he really isn't the right manager for this team, too. This is a young, gritty team that has the new style of baseball with them. You know, with Tim Anderson, Mercedes, all these guys. They have the new style of baseball where baseball is headed. Basically, it's a little more flashy. You know, and to a lot of the older fans aren't going to like that. Us younger fans love it. But you know, that's why he wasn't. That was why it was a bit of a head shaker. Why when they hired him as the manager too, because you know he's pushing 80. Is he 80? You would know, Hank.
77.
77. So he's
76, 77. He's geriatric.
Yeah, so he's pushing 80. You know, he probably isn't going to be around that long. And this is a team that's young, and you're hoping to have this core together for a while. You want to have a young manager that kind of like blends with them, you know, that you can kind of build the team around with, you know, like as Jimenez, Moncada, Anderson, Abreu, as they all get deep into their careers. Hopefully they're all, you know, they can keep that core together with the White Sox. You want to have a manager that kind of sticks with them for most of their careers. And, you know, if that wasn't Rick Renteria when they fired him, it's definitely not going to be Tony La Russa. And, you know, there was all these issues off the field before the season, and like John alluded to, that he borderline shouldn't have even gotten the job completely. He should have got the job taken away. But then you go about and do this, it's not looking good for him. It really isn't. Like, he's not putting himself, you know, he's a decorated manager. He's done a great job in the past. You know, he's had some winning teams. He's won some World Series, but you know, the baseball is different now, and it's a younger generation, and the game, as you know, his generation was once back in like the 60s and 70s when they were the younger generation of baseball. It's moving into a new generation. So I think that it would have been smart for them to hire a younger manager, you know, go after someone younger that they could have tried to build the team around. But it's, you know, if this is going to keep going on, I don't see why it's worth keeping him around that long. I really don't, even if they're winning. You know, they're winning. They're winning because their rotation has been disgusting, and they've been, even with Eloy Jimenez hurt, they've been raking. They've had Mercedes leads the league in batting average, guy they picked up off the scrap heap. So you know,
they're winning more in spite of him. Too. Yeah, they're winning more in spite of La Russa rather than because of him.
Exactly.
And you know, let me point this out too before I get on to my next topic and before we kind of go rapid fire through these other topics. I do want to point out that, remember who hired him? Jerry Reinsdorf. This is the same guy who basically is responsible for that Bulls team breaking apart. And you want to look up at some of the other things he's done. He's one of the owners he's probably the owner that's most responsible for the strike of 94. I'm not going to go too much into detail on that tangent, but my point is that was a managing decision that had his fingerprints all over it, and it just goes to show you it's a real damn shame that the White Sox are owned by somebody who's really a cheapskate and is more in it for like the money and getting names, because it's a really good team that they've been developed, and it's sad.